Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Today, gonna be a match between Bisu and Fantasy here on Destination. Got this replay off of TeamLiquid.net on the forums off of a very, very large replay pack. They have a lot of 1.16 patch replays, which load very, very well in today's client. And whoever posted that, thank you very much. Top side, we have Fantasy. He is the orange Terran player. And in the bottom here, we have Bisu. Spamming 540 APM. Alright, so TVP here on Fantasy. Tanks are super duper good. Did I say Fantasy? Destination. Here on Destination. Tanks are very, very good here on this map. And I feel like Fantasy's going to take advantage of that. He knows how good tanks are. Bisu knows how good tanks are. So tanks we shall see, and Bisu's going to try to whittle down that tank count so that they aren't overpowered on this map. Anywho, hit that like button if you're excited for Bisu versus Fantasy. I've got a lot of requests for Fantasy replays. Dug a lot for this one. So you're welcome, Fantasy fans. I hope he wins for you. Barracks at the top of the ramp. Gateway. Oh, are you going Nexus first? Bisu. Bisu. What? Okay, alright. Bisu's just casually Nexus firsting on a two-player map with not a big rush distance either. Wow. Alright, cool. So Bisu feels pretty confident here against Fantasy. It's fine. Totally fine. Everything's super cool. Just, you know, if it's a proxy, you just die. Not that you've scouted anything at all. Does he just know that Fantasy is not one of those players who's going to go for it? My goodness. All right. So SCV is going to get down here and be like, oh, I should have proxied. So Nexus first. Dang it. So I watched an old Day 9 Daily, which I do like to do sometimes, just because I miss the infectious attitude and enthusiasm of Day 9, and I've tried to incorporate some of his stuff into my own casting. You can't match it, man. That guy, just a consummate performer, and he truly, truly loves StarCraft. Maybe he loved it more when he was actually doing content for StarCraft instead of no content at all now, but anyway, point is, there was a StarCraft 2 mod that he was highlighting that was called StarCraft 2 Brood War, as the Cybercore comes up on time, where it's in the StarCraft 2 client, but you had Brood War everything, right? Brood War units. They tried their best approximations of what Guardians should be, and Sunkens were just spines, but they couldn't move, and they were called Sunkens, etc., etc. So anyway, one of the games was on this map, and one of the things, it was a PVT that he was highlighting, and so like maybe 12 Dragoons attack into 3 siege tanks, and they all die. And he's like, "See how good tanks are?" And he's like, "Wait a second." And he goes back, and for some reason, whoever coded this particular mod, this particular map, had actually made siege tanks 2-shot Dragoons instead of 3-shot them. 3-shotting them is already super insanely good, but 2-shotting them was just impossible to deal with. And he just, yeah, it was hilarious. These siege tanks were just like, "Kabro!" Like 2 siege tanks would wipe out like 3 Dragoons in just sharing a volley, just because splash damage was also insanely good. So good times, man. I do recommend going back and watching some of the Day 9 dailies, especially ones that he focuses on Brood War. If you're trying to learn StarCraft, if you come to my channel and you're like, boy, I sure wish I could get into StarCraft, then the Day 9 Let's Learn StarCraft playlist that's on his channel on YouTube is just, it's the best resource. It is. It's like 10 different videos. It explains everything to you. It gets race specific with everything. It gives you the basics for all the stuff, and I just can't recommend it enough. That's one thing that Day 9 as a full-time content creator was able to do that I'm just not able to do. Because I'm not a full-time content creator, right? I have a mortgage, and I've got 3 kids to raise, and school fees, and clothes, and doctor's appointments, and everything. I just have too much going on. I can't try to make this work full time. It just doesn't work. So Dragoons are here. So yeah, just not full time means I can post a new video every day of the week, but when it comes down to like sitting down and crushing hardcore content No, that's not something I can spend a week or two doing, you know? Not so much. So anyway, spider mines are out. Defensive purpose, not being used defensively here at all. Bisu, like no tanks, that's cool. Tank count's going to be a little bit lower than it otherwise could be if we started out with siege tanks. So he's fine with it. Got our Kakaru spying for the enemy here. Kakaru, Kakaru. Okay, maybe they're not spying for the enemy, but having a good time anyway. Mouth open, clearly just making a sound the whole time, like that screaming son on Rick and Morty. Kakaru, Kakaru, Kakaru. You could do that with your mouth open the whole time. So, dropship hidden here. I don't... Oh, yeah, there's no chance that Bisu scouted that because he didn't get in the front door. So, unless this Kakaru is relaying this information back, which it isn't, Bisu doesn't know about this dropship, which I kind of love. Oh, look at this. I mean, Bisu has more supply than he needs, especially... Oh, that's a support bay. All right, he's good. He's not oversupplied here. Spider... Oh, no, didn't take a hit. God, Bisu. Sick micro. The sickest micro. So, we're going to dropship into the main base with these vultures. And there are 2 dragoons here, which is nice. But, I don't know. 4 vultures running around, throwing down spider mines. Especially since the observatory is not done yet. Yeah, this is going to be... Bisu's going to have a struggle dealing... Oh my gosh, it's more than 4. Is it going to be 8? 6. So 6 is bad. Obviously. Spider-Mine's getting laid. Just in random spots here. You probably don't have detection yet, right? Trying to get in here to this mineral line to wipe out as much as they can. Spider-Mine's getting laid down here too. Knocking Bisu down to 40 probes. He was at a little bit more than that earlier. Ooh, that's a free probe too if you want it. Ow, snap. Yeah, Spider-Mine's just getting laid all over the base. And now Bisu's kind of like, I can't really move. I don't have an observer yet. I'm making one. That's fantastic. I'm glad that I am. Great block there, though. Great block. Vulture wanted to get back into the main, couldn't do it. So all we're left with now is 1 Vulture. But guess who just scouted the whole Reaver drop scenario? Yeah. The Vulture. Ah! Spider-Mine kill! You don't get credit for those? I don't think I knew that. Vultures don't get credit for Spider-Mine kills. Oh my gosh. Wait. Did the Spider-Mine kill him? Man, live by the sword, die by the sword, huh? That's what I always say. Alright, so third base coming up here. Third base warping in from Bisu on the right side as well. So if this Reaver drop gets a lot of done, it is 100% scouted. This Wraith is kind of looking for it, I think. Because if you can find a Reaver drop coming, you can kill it. Because the shuttle can't fight back, and the Reaver can't fight back if it gets unloaded. So Wraith is a great way to deal with this kind of a drop. A little bit struggly if you're trying to deal with a drop of like Marines or Dragoons or, you know, a lot of Hydralisks and some Overlords, that sort of thing. See, this Observer is clearing the path forward because if the Wraith is there, the shuttle doesn't want to go. Is the shuttle going to play defense? I don't know how I feel about this. If you're getting shuttle tech and Reaver tech, you kind of have to get out there and get it, right? It's Bisu. I'm not going to complain about it at all. Not me. Rhinodon down here. Looking kind of... Is the model smaller than usual? Is this like a baby Rhinodon? What is this map? What is this version of Destination? Look at this thing. He's a baby. He's the smallest little Rhinodon. Are the other critters this... The Kakaru's big? The Kakaru looks normal. It's like bigger than the Rhinodon is. I'm so confused. Alright, so the problem for Bisu here is that he needs to Zerg the Terran. Or... maybe by virtue of the fact that it's Bisu, he doesn't have to do that at all. He can just kill him on 3 base to 3 base. It's fine. But normal Protoss really want a 4th base and probably a 5th base if the Terran's on 3. You need to Zerg them. You're going to have a lot of less cost-efficient units compared to the enemy's million siege tanks and vultures and spider mines. So you definitely 1,000,000,000% want to get in here and start killing tanks at the the cost of several of your dragoons, you know? And that takes a lot more of the moonies. So expanding a whole bunch here would be a great idea. But remember what I said about tanks on this map? You set up a tank line basically here. I know it's a lot of territory, I get that, but it covers a lot. It covers a lot of ground, and it's very hard to break. This map is pretty skinny. You can take advantage of that. Charon boosters on the way. Got ourselves a Stargate and a Templar Archives coming in, so Arbiters are the play next. Got a little siege. Okay, siege tank. Ow. Ow, tank dead. Never mind. Reaper for base defense is just super cool. Hey, come on over here, says the Vulture. Trying to mess with me. There's spider mines in the way. Yeah, like that. Spider mine took out a Dragoon there, and there's another dead one. It's working, man. It is working right now for this Vulture stuff. Fantasy, getting some good stuff done. Is that another dead Dragoon to spider mine? It certainly is. There's still one back here, too. So it looks... I thought maybe this would be an expansion attempt, but it's just Dragoons trying to deal with the dropship, which I think they sniped as it was on its way out. Oh, Observer flies into absolute destruction thanks to this missile turret and, like, the Marines and Goliaths here. This is the most anti-air in any location on the map. Maybe this 3-turret location has a more anti-air, but yeah, that's a pretty heavy anti-air location just kind of fly into. Not crazy ideal. Arbiter's Tribunal coming in as predicted. Ka-chow. Dropship. Tank. 2 Vultures. Let's go. Sure, we'll just try to get a couple hits off on these. Nope. Great. Fantastic pull, honestly. But look at the Reaver being used in beautiful defensive purposes. This time, the Unsiege is fast enough to get out of there. Spider-Mine's killing a couple more Dragoons there. Tank decides to unload here. You try to get a... Oh, gonna get a shot. Okay, 7 kills. 9 kills. And it's dead. Alright. Cute stuff. Vultures attacking an assimilator is not crazy good. Dropship gets out of there with what it has left, which is a single Vulture, and then dies because there's a million Dragoons. So, right. 3 kills on the Vulture before he goes down, not counting as many kills as his Spider Mine got, so that's fine. Spider Mine's got 4th base minerals only here, which is kind of okay because you want a million Zealots anyway to deal with the tanks. Like, the trick here is the tanks actually aren't super duper scary if it was just tanks. The scary thing are the Vultures and the Spider Mines that protect the siege tanks from Zealots, right? So if all your opponent's doing is mass tank, you just go mass Zealot and pretty much deal with them in a cost-efficient basis. But you need the Dragoons to deal with the Vultures and the Spider Mines, and that slows things down, and etc, etc. Bad stuff happens all the way around here. So is that another Stargate? Hold on. Is that our first one? That might be just our first one. Okay. No, second one, because that one's working. We are... We could just be double pumping Arbiters, but this could be a harbinger of carriers. I don't actually know. This is pretty good Vulture play from Fantasy down here, too. Just absolutely wrecking some probes. This is a good spot to kind of hang out, but that's why there's a cannon here to cover this gap, right? So, well played overall. Jeez, man. This Vulture stuff, I mean, this is something that an elite Terran player will absolutely do that is not easy to do. It is hard to do. But that's why Fantasy is a name that gets requested on the channel. It's because he can do that stuff. And there are some other players out there who can't seem to manage to pull off Vulture harass, and it really hurts them because the Protoss economy gets crazy. At 56 probes to 71 SCVs, Fantasy says, yeah, that's right. Who has the crazy economy now? That I do. I love this wall of supply depots, tanks behind it. Tough to break for a Protoss player for sure. And he hasn't even taken this base yet. Dude, Fantasy's kind of got a stranglehold on this game a little bit. Although expanding here is Bisu. That's good. And Bisu's like, alright, it's time! Let's throw ourselves into the Terran and try to kill some of his siege tanks. Zealots in the front, like I said. Not a lot of Vultures here. But the tanks are just from distance, dissuading Bisu from following up on that attack. A lot of Dragoon blood on the ground. Obviously, some tanks did die. Some Vultures and some Goliaths did lose their lives there as well. But I don't think enough tanks died to really make that worth it. It's even on supply here. Bisu has a bigger army. But, as we've said, the cost efficiency of the Terran army can allow them to have a smaller army and be fine. Are you going to try to kill this cannon? It does reach a point where Vultures, there are just enough of them and they have enough firepower they can burn down cannons. We're not there yet. +1 attack and like 7 Vultures is not going to be enough. Vulture trying to block this ramp, but can't do it by himself. He's not quite fat enough. And then we're back here again. It is some super deja vu here from Fantasy. Just absolutely ka-chow, ka-chow. Yeah, and all the Vultures are going to die. Absolutely, they're YOLO Vultures here, but 57 probes again. Just can't seem to get to 60 despite double pumping them. Recalls being researched. Some amazing recalls are a good way to get back into this game for sure, but for the Terran to be on this many bases and taking his top right pocket expand too is not great. This is gonna put that out there for science. It's not ideal for Bisu right now, the fact that Terran has this many bases. Hit that like button, by the way. I don't know if we talked about this, but I've been looking over some of my recent videos, and it'll have like 7,000 views, and 300 people will have liked it. And it's like, can we maybe get to 10%? Maybe 1 in 10 of you click the like button. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. Leaving comments does the same thing. It allows other people to be recommended my videos, which is awesome, right? So hit that like button, hit that subscribe. Thank you. I love you very much. So Bisu was pushing up the right side, no base to kill here, and then, oh boy, the tanks got into a beautiful position on this left side base for Bisu, and there you go. You have to scan to see up that ramp. Bisu's kind of like, that's a pretty entrenched. Actually, it's not that entrenched. There's a handful of spider mines here, but you know what? That's enough to deal with some zealots running in. He needs some high ground vision, because look at this. He can't see it because it's up a ramp. He has to scan to see up the ramp. Or like put a Vulture right here. You don't have to burn scans anymore. Right? Right. Alright, working on arbiters. This base is gonna die. These are +2 siege tanks now. Finally, the Vultures come up. Are they gonna take friendly fire splash? Are they that close? They're that close. But this one took some friendly fire splash from that siege tank. Well, these 3 siege tanks. Oh, so then Bisu tries to take this top right hand, this right side base. That technically does belong to Fantasy, but Bisu says, I want it. So he's going to engage here, but gosh dang. This tank count. This tank count right here is too much. It is just too much. The +2 is amazing. The Dragoons have 2-2. They've got better upgrades, but +2 siege tanks and +3 is even better. Not that we're working on +3, mind you. That upgrade is not coming through. Yeah, and Bisu trying to expand up this right side. No. Not allowed. And it's gone. I'm not even sure that was canceled, but yeah, maxed out, starting to develop some banks here. Everybody is. Bisu trying to get up this ramp, but the 3 siege tanks behind the wall are just utterly problematic. I don't know if this recall is going to happen. But, oh, it does happen. All right. All right. That's a beautiful recall. Arbiter gives its life for this recall. Takes down a couple of missile turrets, a couple SCVs going down. Love getting the Zealots in that mineral line. And then trying to finish off the command center so it can't easily be replanted is also very, very good. And by golly, they're going to get it. +2 Dragoons. There are enough of them. There's no repair. Okay. So base down. That's excellent. But you're not getting out of here alive. Unless you break down this wall and escape to the south, which is not attempted. And instead, Bisu's units decide to go out in a blaze of glory, trying to come down this ramp to do an absolute meat grinder, that is this concave. Alright, sense of self-preservation. A little bit off here, but again, right side is expanded too, but oh, these tanks just moved a little bit. They just moved just a little bit. So it's 2 bases dead for 1 base dead. Not a kind of trade that Bisu wants to be seeing here, you know. You know, where the stasis is my larger question here. Have we seen a single stasis here today? I'm not convinced that we have. And then Fantasy coming down the left side, going after this Nexus. And, I don't know where there's a Wraith here, but it's dead. I shouldn't be involved in this battle. Yeah, this Arbiter has enough energy. I think I saw stasis come through, but it just got EMP'd, so never mind. No energy for anything. This base dies. Bisu is knocked down to 4 bases, which doesn't sound terrible. But considering the main is mined out, and this bottom left base is in a huge amount of trouble as well, Bisu is trying to mount. It's not very much of a guerrilla attack up this right side. It's a very, normal style attack. But this top right pocket base of Fantasy is in a lot of trouble, but the bottom left pocket for Bisu is in an immense amount of trouble as well. So base for base, but Bisu's kind of knocked down to 2 mining bases. Oh, this is trying to come up. But Vultures have found it. Man, Fantasy's kind of been everywhere on the map, hasn't he? He's up, well, he's down 179 to 166 supply. Probes are dying. We're down to 47 probes now. I mean, this bottom left base dead, this left side base dead, this right side base harassed, but not dead. And, okay, there's enough zealotry in here to actually come through and wipe this out. Spider mines take out a few zealots, but those siege tanks are gone. That's nice. Fantasy is knocked down at 146 supply. He has rebuilt the left side base here at the 9 o'clock position. Continuing to come up the right side, though. Defensive matrix on a siege tank. And, oh, he's stasised. Okay, stasis some of his own units here, but got the science vessels, which means detection's not available. Oh, and stasis the guys on the ramp, too. So you can't come up. All right, so that's an excellent block of that ramp, but this low ground siege tank is just 6 kills on that dude. And Dragoons keep wandering up, getting obliterated. +2 siege tanks, man. +3 is almost done. Not a good place to be. Is this a recall attempt, or is this a stasis attempt, or what are we doing here exactly? Just scouting around with this Arbiter, perhaps? Oh, it is a recall. All right. DT's here, but unfortunately, ow. Detection. Oh, hang on, hang on. Detection getting removed. There are, okay, 2 more missile turrets up here, though. Trying to retake this left base is Bisu. This has been an intense last couple of minutes, without question. Zealots, DT's like, I can't fight where people can see me. In the shadows, I call. Oh, DT wanders back around this direction. Maybe the detection won't be here. Oh, never mind, he's dead. Left side base gets recalled and dies again. All right. Man alive, this has been a great game for bases dying. Really, oh, this base is going to die too. Pretty much the same time this one does. Look at this. Down. And this one. Down. Synchronized base deaths. Vultures can't do much about this. They do full damage versus shields, which is why they're pretty good against building Protoss buildings that are warping in, but to a certain point they're good, and then they're bad, because then you start trying to chip away at the hole that's warping in. And anyway, 136 to 138 supply. What an absolute bloodbath this game is. Oh, the tanks are around here denying the mining at this. Okay, this is bad. This is bad for Bisu. Fantasy's money situation is not good, but I think it's better than Bisu's right now. But the stasis! I mentioned stasis, and what do we get? A whole ton of stasis. Siege tanks? Nope, not allowed. You're just gonna die. You have +3 attack, but you're outnumbered horribly here. And you do get wiped out. So, yeah, man. Bisu living up to his name here. He's dealing with a very aggressive, very, very good Fantasy today. But the stasis has come out a little bit late. The right side base needs to be replanted, but this siege tank with this science vessel placement is extremely hard to root out. And these tanks are back. Oh, stasis though. More stasis. This is going to wear off any second now. I feel it in my bones. There it is. Just trying to see the state of the game here. Suddenly it's 143 to 102 supply. Top left base is reestablished. That pocket base for Fantasy. This right side base, no for Bisu. The left side base, no for Fantasy. But this base, if it dies for the 3rd time, no, that's it. GG. Not enough to save it. Not enough army. And Fantasy is your winner in this TVP in 24 minutes. I gotta say, I don't know how many TVPs I've cast with Bisu where Bisu loses. Other than against Flash, right? Just because Flash is a monster. But as far as other players are concerned, I've cast some really good Terran players against Bisu in a PvT, and it's just, Bisu looks unstoppable. You know what? Again, there's a reason people request fantasy games, and it's because of this stuff. That was hard fought. That was scrappy. So many bases died, which is so fun. The more bases die in a game, the more entertained I am, I know. I like seeing explosions and players desperately trying to save bases that they can't save. It makes me happy for some reason. But yeah, these tanks get wiped out, but the larger problem is over here. This base dies, and pretty much you're left with whatever's happening at this third base location, and that's it. Retaking this right side base is not going to happen. There's a surprising number of resources in this base. As far as mineral patches go, it's not a lot of minerals, but mineral patches, you know, good number here. But just being everywhere. Fantasy did such a good job harassing with vultures, expanding a whole bunch, continuing to harass with vultures, and then just getting in positions where he takes a little hop and a skip and a jump, and hey, he's got siege tanks in range of your base. And that is absolutely what you don't want. Right? Man. Absolutely, ridiculously, incredibly good TVP. I don't know if that's getting an epic tag here, but let me know in the comments if you think it should have an epic tag, and I'll toss one on. Yeah? Yeah, I think that's fair. All right, well, good stuff. Let's check out the final score, and we'll see if the numbers tell us what we want to see. 178,000 points for Bisu, 183 for Fantasy. 458 to 316 on units produced and killed. Killed is pretty even, but when the Terran player makes this many more units, 142-ish, that's going to be a big deal. Structures race is about even. That's kind of surprising considering I thought the Terran was ahead there. And then resources, more gas mined, about the same number spent. And you just can't, as a Protoss player, you just can't have an virtually identical number of resources spent in a PvT against a good Terran player and win. We talk about it a lot. You guys understand. All right, cool. So that right there is going to be it for me today. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.